Hello, Internet viewers. This is Frank Rauscher again. I'm doing part 3 of videos. This will be the third one. And I'm going to be doing, this is the blank that we're doing the cardinal from. And I'm going to show you how to mark this out today. And then we will start taking this and shaping it so that we can make everything rounded off and we get the square edges out of here. And I will proceed by showing you how to mark this thing up, and then we'll proceed on and you'll get to see it exactly the way it should be done. Okay, so let me pause this for a second and then I'll show you the continuation. Okay, here we are again. I have the blank in front of me here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to the tail here. I want to establish a center line going right up the middle of the bird. So we could do it one of two ways. We can measure through the body here, which usually runs about 2¼ inches. So I'm going to come in at 1 1/16 in and put a mark. And this varies, whatever width you have. I could have cut this out a little fatter. I could have cut it a little thinner. So you have some variation in thickness, but don't concern yourself too much with that. Down in the tail, we have, I'm measuring roughly, what I cut out was about 1 7/8, which, or 15/16, 1 15. No, I was right the first time, 1 7/8. So I'm going to take the half plus the 7/8 is 7/16. So I'm going to end up right here. And so now I have a dot here and a dot here. I'm going to lay my ruler right alongside of each dot and create a center line. So I'm going to lay that down like that. Now, I have that up into the body here, so I'm going to continue it up a little higher onto the head. So I want to come up in here and draw that up towards the top of the head. Okay. This will not be the head center line, but it's the body center line. And what we want to do while we have this coming down, I want to transfer this line through the tail here, like this. Here's the line, and I'm continuing it on through to the other side. And to get the same measurements, I'm going to come up here again, and we got the 2 1/8, so I'm going to go 1 1/16 and mark that out. I'll lay my ruler between the two dots, and I'll draw the center line up to at least there on the breast area. So I have a center line basically going all the way around, but not totally on the head. Now on the head, this is where I cut up to, but you can see the pencil line still there. I didn't get it right on the pencil line. So that's not a problem. We have a little more material than we need here, but as we decide to take it down, one thing I want to try to establish is the center line of the head, because on birds, you don't want them to be straight on. They look too stiff, and most birds in nature have their heads turned to the right or to the left. So we will turn the bird to the left, which is the way I cut out the blank. And you can see it on this template I have, the center line came up through here, and then it went over on this direction. Now, if you wanted to ever change it, you pick a pivot point and you move the head. You can actually move it 90 degrees. You can actually turn the head around somewhat too. Not that that's the best way to show a cardinal off. I would say that getting the center line in and then skewing it a little bit is a nice pose. And that's what I did on the original one. I don't know if you remember this or not. I'll bring the original cardinal in, and I don't know if you could see it well with that, but here's the center line coming up, and then this is on a skew. So that's what I try to do. I try to put some movement into the head, and you can vary this angle however you want to do it, okay? And I've also done this one, and I think I talked about this in another video, where I actually turned the head 90 degrees that looked out this way, and then I also fluffed up the feathers. I made it a lot more thicker through the breast area here, like it was in a winter scene. It was fully breast feathers all fluffed up, the head turned, and then I had it on a branch and I put snow on it, which sort of gives you that illusion that it's in the winter, and it looked really great the way it turned out. I don't have the piece now, but trust me, it really came out kind of cool. So that's other ways you can change the settings or the positioning, I should say, of the bird. And that's what I try to do each time. Each time I try to develop a different look on the cardinal. And in the case of the wing, I've dropped the wing down. Sometimes you can have it coming so that the wings are just crisscrossing each other here. So there's a lot of ways of posing the cardinal. So I just happen to pick up from my pattern that I have here, this one here, and I work this one up. And you can see I have the drop wing down here. I've made them where they come up and crisscross on the top view here. So there's a lot of different things you can change as you're developing your bird. And within reason, you can turn the bird. You can even arch it. You can have the tail going this way. I've had a bird where the tail was going in this direction, the body turned a little bit more, and then the head was a little bit more. So it was almost like an arc going around. So you can vary the positions. So getting back to the actual bird itself, on the head, I came down to the point. I pick a point here. This is my wedge in here, which is making up the front of the bird. Then I come back, and I came back between these 2 points and found the middle and put a dot, and then same way here and here and put a dot. And now what I'm going to do is draw a straight line, which takes me up and over like this, okay? So now we have the head established, and we have, that's the center line of the head, this is the center line of the body, and that's where we're at this point. Now, what we're going to do is when I cut my blanks out, I always run it through the bandsaw like I did it in the video before and knock off the corners just so you can get some of the excess material out. And I do that, I just trim it. And that just alleviates you having to take more material out as you go. You would address less material as you go by knocking these corners off. Now, I didn't do it in the tail because I want to try to minimize the setup of the tail yet. I'm going to show you that too. What I want to address now is I have these edges, like one's here, one's here. Now, also, we have a center line that's establishing what the bird's body is going to be and what the head's going to be. In the profile position, if you measure between here and here, which is the belly to the top, I'm just going to guesstimate, but I'm picking about the middle right there, and that will be the boundary that I want to keep the dimensions within. I'm going to do it on the other side too. You have this, you have an edge here, you have an edge here, but between my fingers, these two here, I'm picking the middle, and I'm going to run a line here. And just like the center line, we're going to take material up to the center line and round this. And you're saying, okay, well, how far are you rounding that? I'm going to round it down to here. Then when I go to take this edge down and the belly end down, I'm going to roll this down to the center line. And that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to roll this so you have it completely rounding across, and you do the same thing on the other side. And what we're going to do, say like this side here, I usually take a mark, like this has an edge here. So for the belly area here, I don't want to go into the head too much. I will go a little bit, but I'd rather refine this with other tools, but I'll show you. I usually pick a mark between these two edges that I created, and I put a mark here and a mark here. So I'll try to roll this by knocking this edge down and rolling it back and forth so that this whole area becomes rolling. And then I'm going to encroach up to here. Now, the reason why we put the center line in and we have this line, they're the actual dimensions of the width of the bird here and the width of the bird through here. So from center line to center line, that's pretty much a true number that we want to stay with. We don't want to reduce or take any more out. We'll skim the center line and take just a little bit off, but very little. And the same way here, when we roll this around, we do want to stop at this point. We're going to sort of come up to it and just skim past it. And we'll do that in each quarter as we go around. So I'm going to end up rounding this off. I'm going to try to stay off the head as best I can, but I will show you. We're going to go up a little bit. You can see that the width of this head is got to come in, and we do have a lot of material here. So I will show you as we go how much to take off and how much not to. The other thing too, on the tail profile, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down about 1/8 of an inch on the back end here and arc this up to almost the center line, and then come down to 1/8 of an inch on this side. So this has a nice arc going through here. And then I'm going to come down another 1/8 of an inch and do the same thing again. So I'm going to mimic this arc like so. So what this is going to do is I'm going to start rolling this edge down so that it will look like the material that's in this area here on the upper side of that arc goes away. So it has a shape of a roll. And then I'm going to show you also in the tail feathers here on the underneath side, and that was like in here, this is going to be rolling inside. So there's like an arc going across the tail here, and also a convex area between the feathers here and here. So we're going to create that as well. The other thing we want to do is how far up do you want to come to create the tail feather coming into the body, and also establishing where the rump is. So let's go back to this drawing here again, and if we measure from the tip of the feather out here to the rump area right there, we have roughly 2.5 inches. So I'm going to come in here on the tail, lay my 2.5 inches on the ruler up to here, and I'm going to mark that out. Now, what I'd like to do is put a little boundary. I'm going to come in about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to come up, and I'm going to scoop this around like that, and then I'm going to come up 1/8 of an inch from this edge, and draw this coming up and then turning in. And what we want to do is hollow out this area, and I'll show you how to do that too. We basically have it marked out, and I'll show you where the concerns are and where there aren't on doing the bird. Now, predominantly, everything I carve is with power. So when I do this, it's going to be with rotary tools. You can do it with a Dremel. I have what you call a Fordham, which is, I'll try to bring this into the picture here so you can see it. This is the Fordham. Let's see if I can drag this up and over here. The Fordham is a machine that looks like so. And it has a flexible shaft that comes around, and it has a speed control. I can turn it on here, and I also have a dial in here. Now, they also come where they're not a table mounted one like this one. You can have a hanging one with a flexible shaft. So what I like to do is use this as for roughing, and I use a Typhoon burr, which is a tungsten carbide burr. These will last forever. They just go and go and go. And every once in a while, they'll get gunked up here a little bit, depending on the type of wood or something like that. So you just soak this in acetone overnight, this bit, and then get an old wire brush and clean it out. But this has plenty of grit on it to do the job I need to get this thing going. So let me move this out of the picture for the moment. And what I'm going to do is start taking this down so that I'm hoping we're in a right position here so that you could see everything that's being done. Let me see if I can adjust this camera so that you have everything in view. So what I'm going to try to do now is come in here. I'm going to get this barrel, and I'm going to roll it back and forth so that I can get this edge out, and it comes down to the middle of this groove in here and that one. And I'm just going to round this over. So follow me here. It's going to get a little noisy because of the machine, but I'll try to talk as best I can on this so that you can hear it. I'm going to come in here, and you want to go back and forth. And you can see it knocks down that edge. Oh, yeah, if you'll excuse me for 1 second. One other thing I wanted to mention, and of course I don't have it in front of me, I will recommend wearing a mask. I have a dust collecting system on my bench here, but right now I just want you to see it, and if I have that noise going and the Fordham going, you will not hear it that well. So let me go back and start this again. And like I said, I came through that edge and I knocked it down, and I'm starting to, I've got that edge rolling this way, so I'm starting to skim up to the center line. If I lose the center line a little bit, that's okay. Now I'm going to come back down to here, and I'm coming down to that line in between that chamfer I had in there. I have these chamfers, so I want to get down to them. Then I'm going to get rid of this edge and roll it from up here down to here. But I start on that chamfered edge, and I come in here, and I take that down. And I get a nice rollover. Now on the back end of here, my drop wing drops down to here, so my concerns on this end is to get this rounded, and I don't want to touch that end too much because I still need to get my drop wing in that area. So there's one side rolling. Now I still have an edge all the way up to here, and I'll show you that by getting a pencil and putting that right in there so you can see the edge, and I'm going to try to get that edge out of there as well. And I want a nice round over right in this area. So we're getting pretty good there. Now I'm going to start on the bottom and roll this edge right here, this one, and then I'll get to this one. But I'm going to take it from midway here to midway there and then skim it up to the center line. So here we go. But I'm not taking that much back here. I'm just going to stop short of that corner. And I'm coming in. And I'm rolling that. And I skim it right on up to the center line and go past it a little bit. Then I'm going to attack this line, but I'm not going to go all the way out to there. I'm going to more or less stay within this area at the moment. So I'm rolling this. Now I'll take it this way. I will do the other side as well. Okay, so I have a nice roll around here to almost a flat where that line was in the middle, and then it rolls around to the belly area. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to take, here's the center line, here's the edge here, I'll take the middle there, the middle here before the center lines, and I'm going to roll between. So I come in here, I go back and forth so I get a nice roll over. And I'm going to attack this area in here to get it down a little bit more. So I have a nice rollover all the way down to the bottom. Then I'm going to come in here and skim it right to that middle line. That would be the middle of the profile. Then I'm going to turn this around. And I'm going to skim a little bit up onto the head, but not much. I just want to get some edges out of there. I'm trying to, when I do the roughing out, which is this portion that we're doing now, I want to try to get the bird to look like it's coming into shape. So now I'm going to take this edge, roll it up. At this edge, you notice I don't go up into the beak area too much. And I'm rolling this edge. And I'll show you in a minute if I can get all the edges out. When we get this rope, that wasn't good. Look at that. We want to take and get the, we're really trying to get the body shaped up first. And then we'll go into doing closer detail on the head. But right now we want to stay off the head where we can. And we're trying to get rid of edges here. Now, let's see. I see a little bit more I missed up in here. I didn't skim it up into the center. So I'm coming up into here. Okay, we're getting there. I'm going to take a little bit more up and right here into the neck area, but not really going on to the head itself. Trying to stay shy. And I'm coming on the underneath side, about an inch back, shaping that as well. Okay. Let me look at this real quick. Okay, let me just stop this for a second. Let me get my brush out here. See if we can't dust this off a little bit, as well as myself. So, what I have, I'm going to put the center line back in, up in here. And here's the center line right here. And I had a center line coming right on up on the bottom here, like this. Now, when you look down the barrel from this view, this should look symmetrical about that center line for the area coming through here. And I'm going to turn it around so I can see it better. I think I need to take a little bit more off on here, and that's what you do. You could observe it and mark it, and then let me see on the top view. I'm going to be looking this way to see. I'm trying to disconnect the head and just see if the body across here looks the same as you're viewing it this way. So this here should have the same symmetrical roll from the center line out this way and that way. Now I'm also noticing I still have an edge that's very obvious to me right up in here. So that means I stop short of rolling this more. So as I observe it, I mark it up with my pencil. And now I'm going to go back and turn on the machine. I'll come in here. It won't take but a second to get this out of there. And now it should be pretty much similar on both sides. Just doing a little manicuring. On this side here, I had too much, so I'm going to come in gently. Roll that over. Over here. I have a nice roll over. And that should do it. At least for the moment, you know, because what we'll do is, as you see, we create a lot of dust. And I have a dust collector that is right underneath here that takes all that in. So that I'll take care of in a little bit. Now, the thing I want to continue on is I want to prep the underneath side as well as the top side, but I'll do the top side first. I'm going to take material off the edges. Say we came down 1/8 of an inch. So if here's that drop we had on the tail. So I'm going to run a line all along the top edge down of roughly about 1/8 of an inch. So you know how far you got to come on that side. And then we'll do the same thing over here. You have that arc that comes around to the corner from the top down. It's about 1/8 of an inch back. So what I'm going to do is roll this top first. Then I'll show you how to treat this underneath side to get the rump out, okay? So here we go. I'm going to come in similar to what I did before by rolling this. I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to start on that edge, and I'm going to try to get down to the pencil mark right there, and then slope it up to the center line. So I'm up to the pencil mark, and I start to get that arc in there, right through there. I still need to take more off. Down at the end here. I'm going to get that nicely in there. Like so. Now I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to come in here, take that edge down, that edge right there. Keep moving it and rolling it till I get to that pencil point. And then I roll it up to the center line. Now, I'm going to stop this for a second so you can see what I've done so far and what I've missed. I'm going to mark this out so it's heavier. Here's the pencil line here and here, all the way over. And here's the other one below. Just making it heavier so you can see it. So in essence, I got to take a little bit more off down here. I've got some more to do down here. Here's the pencil line that I put in, and you could hardly see it now. So I'm right up to where I should be on that. And over here, I have the pencil line down. I could actually take a little bit more off, but I need that nice roll. You're still going to have an edge here, but it's rolling now. It's got that arc. So I need to take material out in this area and the corner here. That's got to get lowered. This has to be lowered. So what I do is I get my pencil and I mark that out. So here we go. I'll take that down again. I'm going to come in right there. Doesn't take much now. We're getting pretty close. A lot of times I get my finger, my thumb on here to control the depth of cut. So I'm staying in control sometimes. And then I'll do the same thing to the other side. So that's pretty good. That's roughly where we want to be. Now, on the underneath side, we want to go down to establish this concave area. And where we want to go down to is 1/8 of an inch down, because that's what's the drop. So I'm going to get this barrel, I'm going to lay it right in on that dot, and I'm going to drive it down. You can make several passes, and I'm going to make a pass about 1/8 of an inch deep, and then check yourself out here, out here to see how far down you are. I'm pretty close now, so I want that nice and smooth in there. So I lay that down so that I can get down to that pencil line. Now I'm going to scoop it up towards this line. So I'm just going to roll this upward so I can follow that pencil line down here to keep that arc. I'm not trying to go all the way out to the edge. I'm just doing this local from the bottom. It'll rise up in here. Trying to get it as smooth as I can to maintain a nice concave area there. And I'm pretty close to where my mark is here. I have this 1/8 of an inch arc through the top and the bottom, okay? I did stop up at the pencil line. It doesn't have to be perfect in here, but we'll smooth that out later. And I have other devices that'll sand this off and get it really nice. But initially, to start this off, this is where we want to be for this stage as far as the body. We've now shaped the body so we have a rounded belly, and you want to be able to look down that belly and see that roll. In the same way, if you can cover the head and look down through here and see that the top of the bird is arcing as well, and it should be symmetrical about that center line, then we're home free. So I will stop at this point, clean up, of course, and hope you got something out of this. I would ask you to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll make it interesting enough that you stay with me, and we will complete the cardinal as shown before. And what we'll do next is we'll start creating the head, and I'll show you how to do that on the next video. Okay, so thanks again. And like I said, if you can subscribe and give me a thumbs up, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.